Okay. So now we can start. So last week twari twarebye kuri OOP, classes and object, tuganira no kuri modules muri Python, uburyo tuzicreate n'uburyo tuzimportinga tukazikoresha. So muri iyi week dufite parts ebyiri zisigaye actually kuri programu yacu. Dukeneye kumva icyitwa computational complexity, tugakenera kumva n'icyitwa tukakenera kuganira actually kuri ntuza career paths zishoboka from what we have learned. So dukeneye kwiga computational complexity, hanyuma tukiga tukanasharinga some ideas about possible paths the programmer yafata mu buzima bwe. So kuri topic ya mbere ya time and space complexity, ubonye tuvuze time complexity tuba turi kwibaza intuza algorithm runaka twanditse cyangwa se program runaka twanditse itwara igihe kingana iki kugira ngo i-completing task yayo, uvuga how fast is it mu magambo yoroshye. Noneho space complexity tuba twibaza tuti ese noneho urabona twagenaga tuvuga tuti iyo turaninze program hari ibintu igenda ibika muri memory. Noneho tubaza ese noneho ikenera memory ingana gute, ikenera gukonsuma memory ingana gute kugira ngo i-consuming ntuza task yayo ifite. Bivuze ngo nitubasha kwanaliza time and space complexity bya algorithm, dushobora kuyikompara n'izindi tukamenya which one is more efficient, akaba ariyo dukoresha for practical purpose. Niba ufite ntuza uri kubaka application, you don't need to use a slow algorithm while you could have a faster one. So that's the topic dushaka kwigaho uyu munsi. Kuvuga bidufasha gucomparing ama algorithm tukamenya which one is more effective, akaba ariyo dukoresha. Noneho hano actually nagerageje to come up with a simple story idusobanura actually why do we actually need to care so much about this topic, n'impamvu bayigize topic muri computer science. So suppose abantu babiri dufite Alice na Bob, bose banditse an algorithm to solve a particular problem. Bose baproducinze ibisubizo byabo bibiri byanditse mu buryo butandukanye. None harimo baribaza bati how can we decide which one is better to use? So bakeneye uburyo bwo compare the two algorithms. Idea imwe bashobora gukoresha bashobora kuvuga bati noneho kuba dufite algorithms ebyiri zose reka tuzirandingira icyarimwe kuri machine imwe, hanyuma turebe isoza vuba aba ariyo duchoosing. That's a possibility. Ariko ibibazo bishobora kuvukamo with this idea ni byinshi. Icyambere, uramutse ufite utu inputs duke cyane, ama algorithm yose azahita arasa nk'asoje instantly, you will not even notice the time difference. Ikindi niba ziri too large, both the algorithm might take too much time ku buryo utakangana utegereza ko zizarangiza. Ikindi nanone ushobora kuzirangira kuri computer zitandukanye, wenda hari ifite CPU yihuta indi ifite CPU igenda buhoro. Noneho algorithm yari supposed kuba slow bikarangira igaragaye nk'aho ariyo yarangije vuba kandi mu by'ukuri bitewe na hardware yaraningiyeho. So ibi ngibi bituma dukenera byanze bikunze, we need a way to be able to judge the algorithms a way which is not affected by the hardware tuyiranningiyeho. In the same way, no kuri memory ushobora kuvuga ati okay, tugiye kureba which one consumes less memory. And the idea of consuming less memory, hano ndatanze urugero nk'ubu ngubu tuvuge task barimo bakushaka kudiringa nayo Alice na Bob, yaramutse ari nko kubara wenda how many times ijambo hero ryaperinze mu gitabo. Umwe ashobora kwandika program avuga ati okay, iki gitabo cyose gisome ukibike muri memory, hanyuma wibaze how many heroes zirimo reading from your memory. Nakavuga ati noneho igitabo cyose ntabwo ukeneye kukibika muri memory, ahubwo genda unyura ku nteruro aba ari ibyo ubitse muri memory, ubara amagambo hero ayirimo, hanyuma uyisibe muri memory ukomeze gutyo igenda ubara ariko utabitse igitabo cyose mu mutwe. Ni kimwe nuko ushobora kuba ngiye naho gutanga interview ku ba candidates 10 nshaka guselectinga the best candidate. Noneho niyo ndi kubaza wenda nk'ibibazo 5, nkavuga nti okay, ngiye ko abo candidates 10 bose bagiye kunsha imbere, ngiye mbabaza ibya bibazo 5, hanyuma nibuke mu mutwe wanjye ibisubizo bampaye n'amanota nagiye mbaha. Noneho at the end nze kwibaza ndi recording from my brain, mvuge nti okay, wabonye amanota menshi n'uyu nguyu. So that would be one way yo kubikora, ariko it would require me to keep so much information in my brain, and that's equivalent to storing things in RAM as the program is going. approach yaba iri smart yo kwinterviewinga aba applicants yaba aravuga ngo okay ndajya ninterviewinga umuntu umwe hanyuma ninza n'uwa kabiri mpite mbakompara mvuge nti okay uyu nguyu wa kabiri yarushaga uwa mbere, so nkeneye kwibuka data z'uwa kabiri gusa, nihaza uwa gatatu mukompare n'uwo nari mfite wari uri the best currently, nimbona muruta mpite na updating my winning candidate, gutyo gutyo gutyo. Bivuze ngo at any time nzaba ndi kwibuka data z'umu applicant umwe gusa, which is different from memorizing the replies from all the applicants. So izo ni ideas twereka how two algorithms can require different memories to run. So Alice namba bashobora gutuma naho twebwe turi more interested mu gukoresha memory ntoya, tugiye kuraninga ntoza algorithm zacu hanyuma turebe yakoresheje memory ntoya. It would not be that easy kugira ngo umenye memory consumption ya algorithm. You would need to build a tool to do it, cyangwa koresha some built-in tools muri operating system, ariko the whole point nuko it's not that easy to get accurate data zikubwira ngo yakoresheje memory ingana gutya, ikoresha ingana gutya. Ikindi rero niyo difference nayo nkuko twavuze, niba difference atari nini you might not tell. Ikindi niyo aramutse ari nka task iri extremely heavy, ushobora kurangira utabonye actually na machine n'imwe yabasha kugira, yabasha kuraninga through the memory ufite, kuko amalaptop yacu hafi ya yose aba afite memory ntoya, amenshi afite 2 GB, 4 GB, 8 GB, 16 GB, 32 uba wakabije wagiye hejuru cyane, 64 ntago ari benshi kunze kuzana ziba ziri mu desktop, ziranahenda memory. So bivuze ngo dufite uburyo bubiri bwo comparing ama algorithm, either we check which one use less memory or we check which ones run faster. Ariko we are still running into the same problem by'uko uburyo bwo kugerageza gusuzuma burimo buradependinga kuri the hardware turi kuraningiraho the actual algorithm. So izo difficulties nizo zatumye habaho kuinventinga iyi system twita big O notation. So big O notation by definition ni universal standard method, ni uburyo aba computer scientists bagirinzeho ko ariko bagiye gukoresha mu kujudginga efficiency z'ama algorithm. So the opinion ni uko dukeneye nyine a mathematical way yo kurepresentinga how the function how much time or how much space the algorithm consumes, hanyuma bukaba ari uburyo bwemeranyijweho n'aba scientists bose, ku buryo if I say this function consumes big O of n, hanyuma undi muntu wese uzabibona azahita amenya what I mean, azamenya what kind of algorithm this one is. So nibyo turaza kureberaho mu kanya muri slides zikurikiraho. So the motivation yo kwiyumvitanira no kuvuga ngo iyo input sizes ari ntoya, niba dufite nk'aba applicant babiri cyangwa batatu, the complexity really doesn't matter kuko all the algorithms will finish fast enough. Ibibazo bivuka iyo input size ziri kuba large, icyo gihe nibwo dukeneye kuba worried about the complexity, kuko nibwo ushobora gusanga niba wenda uri nko gukora nk'ibintu uri gukora nko muri lab ya genetic engineering, uri kudealing with so very huge genome database, now you really need to worry about the complexity. Yeah. So ni kubw'iyo mpamvu muri iyi notation ya big O turaza kubona ko we are always interested in what happens when the input sizes are growing. So dufite algorithms ebyiri zose zikaba zibehavinga kimwe iyo input size ari ntoya, ariko input size zaba nini, wenda algorithm 1 ikarangiza vuba ugereranyije na algorithm 2, icyo gihe algorithm 1 niyo dushaka gukoresha. Even yewe nubwo algorithm 1 yaba iraninga slightly slower kuri inputs nkeya, ariko iri faster kuri inputs nyinshi, as long as twavuga ko algorithm 1 ari iri better kuko it will do better on difficult situation. Yeah. So the whole solution ni big O ni mathematical function, nkuko turi tuvuga ngo f of x, f of y, simply nayo ni O of something. So twandika nyine capital O parenthesis, hano mo imbere akaza kujyamo ikintu kirepresentinga how the function how the algorithm behaves as the input size increases. So nk'uko turi kwandika mathematical function tuvuga ngo f of x, iyo x akaba ari variable, muri big O notation turaza kujya dukoresha n. N kirajya bivuze ni input size, wenda no kuvuga ngo niba tuvuge niba dushaka wenda kunyura muri liste y'imibare wenda ngo turebemo the biggest number, icyo gihe tuzavuga ko n ari how many numbers dufite muri iyi list, kuvuga ni how many inputs dufite. Uko iki list kiba kinini niko n izaba yiyongera. So hari twita free tiers zo kujajingaho ntuza, twaka tuzite free cases ushobora kubezingiraho ujajinga the algorithm. Icyambere ushobora kwibaza uti iyi algorithm yanjye yitwara ite iyo ifite the best case. Nk'ubu ngubu iyo example nari ntanze yo kuba ufite a list uri gushakamo the maximum number, the best case would be the situation where the list is just empty, then you don't have to do any work. So that's the example of the best case. Ni ukuvuga ngo big omega itubwira what's the best case, how does the algorithm behaves in its best case. Noneho big theta ni average, ni ukuvuga ngo muri worst case no muri best case twabiteranyije tugakora average. On average, how does the algorithm behave. Hanyuma big O ariyo turi most interested in itubwira what happens in the worst case. Kuko ngiyi algorithm yanjye nanditse nihura na worst case zishoboka, will it still make it? Yeah. How does it scale up in the worst case? Ni ukuvuga dufite nka very very long list irimo imibare myinshi cyane, how will the algorithm scale up? Kuko ntuza size za inputs ziyongera. So big omega, big theta, big O, ariko as a standard, like we always use just big O, kuko ngiye kwereka impamvu turi more interested in the worst case, which you might guess by now. Yeah. So why are we actually interested in the worst case only? Nk'ariyo turi interested in gusa. I don't know, I have came up with an example. It's a story which my mentor shared with me, but I will share it with you again. So suppose uramutse ugiye nko kwambuka umugezi, ugiye kuwambuka n'amaguru n'ibirenge. Ugiye kwambuka umugezi n'ibirenge, you need some information. Most obviously, you need to know how deep the river is, kuko iramutse iri very deep waza kurohama. Noneho, if you need this information, dore information za free tiers zago. Big omega ariyo twita the best case, yakubwira iti okay, umugezi ugiye kwambuka ahantu ufite depth ntoya wenda ni 0.5 meter, kuvuga ahantu nyine ufite ubujyakuzimu bugufi cyane bushoboka, wenda hapima 0.5 meter. But okay, that's cool. Big theta yakubwira ati uyu mugezi on average ufite ubujyakuzimu bwa 1.2 meter. That would also be cool, ariko at this point wakwibaza ngo is this information really enough to decide to cross this river? Kuzi average depth y'umugezi ukaba uzi na the least deep point uburebure ifite, I say it would still be risky to decide to cross the river. What you really need to know is the information big O gives you. Ushobora gusanga umugezi nubwo uri 1.2 meter on average, ariko hari nk'ahantu hamwe ufite nka 6 meters in deep, aho ngaho rero niho waza kurohama. So this is actually all that matters. Is information uramutse uzifite, you can decide whether to cross the river or not. So that's why big O information is really important, because if you are building an application, it will most likely fail if it gets the worst case, obviously. So you need to know how resilient, how fault tolerant it can be in the worst case, if I could say so. That's why big O is more important than big omega and big theta. And then now we need to have a quick look before we talk about these time and space complexities. So now we call big O ari function, ari O of something which is expressed in terms of n. On the next slides tugiye kuganira kuri different possible complexities. Hari big O of 1, big O of log n, big O of n, n square, hakaba n cube, n power something, turaza kuvuga kuri n power 2 gusa, ariko it's basically the same idea. Hanyuma twumve n'uburyo zigenda zirutanwa in terms of efficiency. So nk'uko ubibona kuri iyi graph, dufite time, tukagira na ntoza na data input. I think I need to highlight here. Nzane akantu ka highlighting. I guess I can. Yeah, I need to draw. Oh, that's the bad. Yeah. So iyi ni time algorithm itwara kugira ngo completing a task. Niyo dufite kuri iyi graph, kuri iyi line ya ntoza ya y, kuri y axis. Noneho kuri x axis dufiteho inputs. Kuvuga ngo n'ibitekerezo byabona as the inputs grow, definitely the time required has to increase as well. But the difference is in how fast does the time required increase. If an algorithm is a type of O of 1 algorithm, the time required is pretty much constant no matter how the inputs behave. If it's log n, tangira increasing, and then it's the rate of increasing slows down very fast. If it's O of n, it increases quite linearly. F of x is equal to y, if I should say so. Yeah. Then n square kubona itangira shooting up nka za curve za coronavirus mu minsi ya mbere. Hanyuma n cube yirusha umuvuduko nyine. Hanyuma n power n, it's like much slower, like it takes much more time even with less input. Hari n'indi actually, hari n'indi imwe iburaho hano ndaza kongeraho yitwa ngukira. Actually I can check it really quick. Nikanze nyire hanze kuyivuga nyigezeho n'ubundi. Yeah, isaba abantu baza kureba permutations zose z'ikintu. So reka tuziganireho imwe tugenda twumva uburyo zikora, hanyuma turaza kugira indi slide isa nk'iyi ngiyi tumaze kuzivugaho twongera kuzikompara. So O of 1, I need to erase these things. Erase. Oh, sorry. Clear. Big O of 1, nkuko twabibonye kuri ya graph, ni constant time. Constant time rero icyo bisobanuye ni ukuvuga ngo hatitawe kuri size ya inputs dufite, igihe algorithm izatwara kizahora kiri the same. And uko ndanyamvuga kuri time complexity, the same concept applies to space complexity as well. Ni ukuvuga niyo algorithm ifite big O of 1, space complexity zaba bisobanuye ko itwara the same amount of space regardless of the inputs. So wakwibaza how come an algorithm can take the same amount of time washyiramo input nkeya cyangwa nyinshi? And really, if you take an example, the way ni ukuvuga ngo task algorithm ikora zigomba kuba zikoze mu buryo ki zitadependinga kuri size ya inputs. Nk'urugero nk'ubu ngubu ndamutse nanditse function ishaka the middle value muri list. Nk'ubu hano mfite iyi function yitwa find middle yakira list, hanyuma ikisabwa no gushaka the middle value. Gushaka middle value, the only thing I need ni ukumenya what's the first index ni 0, nkamenya what's the length of this list, umubare wenyine nkamenya wariho, noneho nkabiteranya nkagabanya kabiri ngahita mbona position yo kuri center, ngahita nibaza umubare uri kuri position. Rero izi operation ntago zidependinga ku burebure bwa list. Kuko kumenya how long the list is, it's something which happens instantly bitewe n'uburyo data ziba ziri stored muri list inside the memory. Ziba ziri stored like one after another ku buryo kumenya uburebure bwa list, whether a list has 2 elements or it has 1 million elements, it will happen instantly because we just need to look at the position of the last element muri iyi list tugatumenya uburebure bwayo. So nkuru n'urugero rwa algorithm ya running in constant time no matter how small or how large the list is. then all it does is to take 0 and then the length of the list tukabiteranya tukagabanya kabiri tugahita tubona the middle value dushaka ikintu kiri kuri iyo position. So no matter how large or how small the list gets, the amount of time required will be pretty much the same. So that's why kuri ya graph twabonye ko O of 1 it's a very straight line. Noneho the second complexity ni iyitwa logarithmic time. This is basically a summary, but in most of the cases it's log with base 2. And the idea of logarithmic time ni ukuvuga ngo the time goes up linearly while n goes up exponentially. Nk'urugero tuvuge niba byatwara isegonda rimwe gucomputinga elements 10 bizatwara just 2 seconds gucomputinga element 100. That's the idea of logarithmic time. Urabona time iri increasinga linearly ariko elements tukeneye computinga zikincreasinga exponentially. Yeah. So urabona ntuza logarithmic time ni ikurikira constant time in terms of efficiency. Hano natanze urugero rwa the most famous example of a logarithmic algorithm ayo twita binary search. Nayikozeho video nyisobanura. It's not a beginner concept. I'm not going to force you to understand it. Ariko ngiye kubasobanurira uko ikora. I think it was one of the most revolutionary algorithms in computer science when it was invented. And kugira ngo mbasobanurire uko ikora, I'm gonna need to bring up something here. And I can quickly a demonstration. Yeah. Just increasing the size. By the way, ndi gukora reconfiguration kuko nahinduye imashini actually. Now if you noticed it. Tuvuge mfite a list irimo imibare iri sorted. 3, 5, 7, 9, 12, 14, 15. Ngiye uburyo binary search ikora. Suppose ko mfite iyi list y'imibare. I really hope ko isomeka kuko kugeza ubu ngubu ariko ndabona isomeka. Yeah, it's not too small. Tuvuge mfite list imeze gutya irimo iyi mibare iri sorted. None ndimo nashaka kwibaza nti mbese umubare runaka x waba uri muri iyi list cyangwa nta urimo, niba urimo uherereye hehe. Tuvuge ndashaka kwibaza niba tuvuge mfite ndashaka kwibaza niba target value iri muri list. Tuvuge target value yanjye wenda ni 8, which happen not to be here. Uramutse umbajije ngo nsuzume niba 8 urimo muri iyi list, there are several ways you can approach this problem. Ushobora kuvuga uti ngiye guturuka ku murongo ndeba niba mpura n'8. Nturuke kuri 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14 gutyo. Ninangira ku musozi ntarabona 8 mvuge nti okay 8 nawubuze. So nukuvuga ngo if I decide to do it that way, biraza gutanga icyo ndazi gusobanura mu kanya cyitwa linear time complex. Nukuvuga ngo numpa urona niba mfitemo elements vuga hano niba mfitemo elements 10 bizansaba gusuzuma gukora utu operations 10 kugira ngo menye niba 8 urimo cyangwa utarimo. Elements nizihinduka 100 bizansaba gukora operations 100 kugira ngo nsuzume niba 8 urimo cyangwa utarimo. That's if I decide to go through all the numbers. Ariko the genius idea of binary search ni ukuvuga ngo niba nzi ko imibare iri sorted nkaba nshakamo 8, byanze bikunze niba ngeze ku 9 there is no point in going behind kuko nzi ko 8 uri less than 9. So the idea ni iyi ngiyi. Suppose ko turi blind tutari tuzi elements ziri mu iyi list ariko tuzi ko ziri sorted. Tuzavuga tuti ngiye kujya mfata umubare uri muri centre ni 9. Nibaze niba uruta cyangwa uri less than y'umunani ninsanga umubare uri muri centre uri greater than 8 nk'uko bimeze hano, I just know that I can abandon this whole part and worry about this part only. Sinzi nawe kantu mukumvisha, reka ngaruke inyuma gato kuko this is where binary search gets revolutionary. Kuvuga ngo I have to find the number 8. I don't know which elements are in this list, but I do know ko ziri sorted. So rather than starting from the front, nzibaza nti mfashe umubare uri muri center, mbese uruta cyangwa urutwa na target value nshaka. Iyo mbonye umubare uri muri center ari 9 kandi nkaba nshaka 8, it doesn't make sense to look in this right side because 8 cannot be there. So all I need to do is to search in this part. Noneho ninza muri iyi part naho I will do the same. Nzafatamo umubare uri hagati, nibaza nti mbese umubare uruta cyangwa urutwa na 8, nsange ni muto kuri 8. Nisanga ni muto kuri 8, I know that 8 cannot be on this side. So I only need to worry about these two. And then I pick this, I repeat until mbonye ntayibonye. So the reason why this is such a brilliant idea, nuko with just one operation, I'm able to get rid of half of the inputs. Kuvuga niyo inputs zari million, 500 byose nahita getting rid of. Kuri second round, nkahita nkuraho ibindi 250. Gutya. That's why we end up getting something called logarithmic time. Kuvuga ngo niyo mfite imibare, actually mpite mbereka kuri Eliyo example. Ngiye gufata ntuza list irimo imibare 10, hanyuma mbereke how many operations byatwara kugira ngo tubone umubare dushaka. Tuvuge duhere kuri 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, something as easy as you can get. Hano muri iyi list harimo elements 10. None ndashaka gusuzuma niba 8 urimo. So plan yanjye ni ukuvuga ngo, plan ya binary search ni ukuvuga ngo, first of all grab the middle value. Icyo cya mbere ndakora. Step ya kabiri, check if it's the target value, niba ariyo nabangiza amahirwe. Check if it's equal to target. Step ya gatatu ndakora, noneho ndasuzuma if it's greater than or less than the target. Ndavuga nti if middle value is less than target, in that case, niyo middle value is less than target, which would be like the case here, then only search on the left. Only search the left side. And the opposite of this, copy, actually paste. Oh, how come I can't paste? Oh yeah, okay, let's type it. It's not BS. Noneho niba middle value iri greater than target, icyo gihe I will only search the right. So iyi niyo approach ngiye gukoresha. Hano ninamuka ndangije aho nsigaranye ntuza 0 elements or 1 element which is not the target, I will just say ko target ntayibonye. So reka dukoresha aya mategeko dusetinze, dushake target impano y'8 muri iyi list, hanyuma turebe how many operations bidutwaye. Ntangiranye izi ntuza izi elements 10. First of all, ndaza mvuge nti okay, what's the middle value? Hano mfite ntuza index ya 0, mfite index ya 9, so the middle value would be something like 4.5, which rounds up to 4. So 0 1 2 3 4, surprisingly. iyi ngiyi ibaye ariyo middle value, twaba dufite ntuzeshane kuri 4 things on the right. I guess it's unavoidable ko dufite umubare even ntabwo uri divisible, ntabwo twabona the central value, ariko iyo turi gukoresha ya flow division tuvuze wenda a over b, nibiramuka byari bigiye kubyara 4.5, Python will get rid of the decimal places hasigare kane gusa. And I guess that's what we have here. So if I grab the middle value as 4, there was an okay, is it equal to the target? No, 4 ntabwo ari 8. I move to the third row. Ngiye kwibaza niba iyi middle value yanjye iri greater than target cyangwa iri less than target. Nsange iri less than target. Ninsanga iri less than target, kuko nzi ko n'ibintu byose biri kuri left ya kane byose biri munsi ya kane, I know that my answer cannot be on this side. My answer, if it exists, it has to be on this side. So that was the first operation maze gukora. Noneho mu second operation, I repeat the same thing. Grab the middle value. Is it equal to the target? No. Is it greater than or less than the target? It's less than the target. So the answer cannot be on this side. The answer can only be here. That being the case, maze gukora ntoza operation yanjye ya kabiri. Muri operation ya gatatu nzavuga nti okay, what's the middle value here? Yeah, division twangize do umubare wa udafite ibice. If I take 1, this is index 0, 1, but it will be 0. Yeah, this will be the middle value. Ndebe nsange nawugezeho already. Nzanga nawugezeho, nzahita mbona okay, 8 ndayibonye muri operation ya gatatu. So uri kubona bitutwaye operations eshatu gusa kugira ngo tugere ku 8. Ariko yaba naturutse ku murongo, this would be the first operation, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth. Nari kuyibona maze gukora ama operation 9. Ariko nyibonye nkoze operation eshatu gusa. And if you check where, I think 3 will be close or equal to the logarithm of 10 in base 2. Yeah. So this is why logarithmic time is faster than going through all the inputs. The idea nuko you keep splitting the inputs into halves and then you deal with one half. That half nayo ukayisplitting ukadealinga na half yayo gusa. And that's how you progress. Yeah. And so iyi niyo code ya binary search. Basically twakiye list na target number. Noneho turavuga tuti okay, tugiye creating ntuza pointers ebyiri. Tugiye gufata akantu kamwe ntuza point imwe tuyitunge kuri left ya list, indi tuyitunge kuri right ya list. Ngaruye ka list kacu tuvuga tuti niba list yanjye originally yari imeze gutya, nzavuga nti ngiye gufata left na right pointers. Mvuge nti wenda left yanjye ngiye kuyitunga hano ku mubare wa mbere, hanyuma right nyitunge hano ku mubare wa nyuma. That's what I did hano. Noneho mvuge nti as long as left ikiri less than or equal to right, igihe cyose bitarahura, kuko right left ndaza kujya nyimuvinga na right nyimuvinga biza bishaka guhura. Igihe cyose bitarahura, ko nibihura nyine ndaba mubuze wa mubare, keretse bihuriye ahantu ari 8. Cyose bitarahura, ndajya nza nshake the middle number. Middle number ndayibona mbiteranyije nkagabanya kabiri. Ubwo nimfata 0 index ngafata na 9th index nkagabanya kabiri, ndabona 4.5 which will be rounded to 4. Tumuga nti okay, middle irahangaha. Ninsanga middle iri hano kuri kane, nzavuga nti okay, kane ntago ari target, kandi kane is less than target. Bisobanuye ngo there is no point in looking on this left side. So kuva ari uko bimeze, nzavuga noneho reka pointer yanjye iri kuri left nyimoving nyizane hano kuri 5. Nzavuga nti noneho left pointer yanjye ntago nkiyikeneye hari, ahubwo ngiye kuyishyira hano kuri 5. right iracyari hano ku icyenda. Urabona ko at this point I'm only dealing with the list which has this size. Noneho the same way ni grabbing the middle, nsange middle ni hano kuri karindwi na urugero karindwi nayo nsange iri less than 7, nongere moving ya left yanjye nyizana hano kuri inyuma ya karindwi, right izaba ikiri ku icyenda, and then nongere nsuzume mpite mbona ngeze kuri 8 nyine mpite mbona ko nawugezeho. So that's the idea, is to use 2 pointers. So ndajya nshaka middle value, hanyuma ndebe umubare uri kuri iyo middle value niba ungana na target. Icyo gihe mbonye ungana na target naba ngize amahirwe, I would just return the middle value. Ariko niba middle value is less than target, icyo gihe bivuze ko niya situation nari mfite hano wenda ari nko kuri 4. Icyo gihe nzahita mfata left pointer yanjye nyimurire kuri middle plus 1. Kuba middle yanjye ari 4, mbonye ko 4 kari less than 8, mfata ntuza left pointer nyimurira kuri 5. So nahise nyimurira kuri mid plus 1. Noneho iyo nza gusanga middle value yanjye iri greater than target, wenda nk'iyo target iza kuba yari 1, hanyuma nkaba natangirije left pointer yanjye hano, haza gusanga wenda middle value yari 4, icyo gihe noneho left nari guhita nyimura nkayimurira hano kuri mid minus 1 hano kuri 3, which is what I do here. Mid right is equal to mid minus 1. Ubwo tugenda tumuvinga either left or right bitewe nuko tubonye mid yifasha. Hanyuma if this while loop ends, bizaba bisobanuye ngo left na right bimaze gucanaho biracrossing, bivuze ngo left ntabwo ikiri less than or equal to right. Bivuze ngo byaje left yaje na right iraza paka bihuye, ndetse right ishaka kuyipassingaho ngiyize ku ruhande. Bisobanuye ko basically byaje bikanyura muri list yose bitari byabona the target value. So in that case I would just say the target is not found. And iyi ntuzanye spending zero time nini because I really like this algorithm, and you can't imagine how many things are running it in the background. Hano sakine gukorwa optimization, they check whether it's possible to do something related to binary search. I think ko nawe spending zero time ihagije. Cyetse ni haramutse hari utari wumva ukikora kugeza ubu ngubu ngo nyi spending aho a few more minutes. Okay, wenda tuzayikoraho exercise muri ya session mwasabye. Hanyuma time complex ikurikiraho niyo twita linear time. Iyo ndakeka is the easiest. Simply ikikora no kuvuga ngo uko inputs ziyongera na time bitwara iriyongera linear. Kuvuga niyo byantaraga time ya rimwe, inputs mfite ari rimwe, inputs niziba 2, time bintwaye izaba 2, niziba 3 nizaba 3, gutyo. Uko twabibonye kuri ya graph dufite hano hejuru. Iyi niyo linear time complexity. Kuvuga uko inputs ziyongera na time bitwara iriyongera linear. Noneho an example of such an algorithm yari nko cya kibazo nari mfite cyo gushaka muri ya mibare, iyo mvuga ngiye guturuka ku murongo nyinyuremo yose mpaka mbonye target cyangwa nyibuze at the end. So that would be a linear time algorithm. Basically is to go through all the inputs. Noneho tukagira n'indi yitwa quadratic time. So quadratic time yo uburyo iteye no reka nayo nyerekane by an example. Ibintu mbona bihanagura kuko ariko reka mbi commenting out. Guess it's much better. Quadratic time uburyo iteye, tuvuge ufite liste nk'iyi ngiyi, none ndakubajije nti mbese muri iyi liste haba harimo imibare 2 nateranye ikabyara wenda 10. So ikibazo kiravuga ngo we have any two numbers that adds up to 10. So nkomeje ikibazo nk'iki ngiki ufite lisite y'imibare, the most obvious way wagisubizamo wajya uvuga uti okay, ngiye gufata umubare wa mbere, hanyuma noneho nimfata umubare wa mbere ndanyura mu yindi yose isigaye nibaze niba nta mubare nateranyaho bikabyara 10. Ubwo niba mfite 0 ndavuga nti okay, mfashe 0 niyo ndiho. Nimfata 0 ngiye kugenda nyura kuri buri mibare yose isigaye nibaza niba nyongeye kuri 0 byabyara 10. Ninshyiraho rimwe wapi, ninshyiraho ninshyiraho rimwe ntabwo bibyara 10, ninshyiraho kabiri wapi, gatatu wapi, kane wapi, gatanu wapi, gatandatu wapi, karindwi ntabwo bibyara 10. Screen ariko ndi kubona yabaye frozen ukuntu. Oh yeah, there is a lag. There is a little bit of a lag. Just give me a second to connect my laptop on the power supply. Ndabona umuriro utangiye gushaka kunshirana. Okay, just a second. Okay, yeah, now we're good to go. So I was in the middle of explaining how the quadratic algorithm work. So mfite iyi liste y'imibare, hanyuma ndi kwibaza ngo mfitemo imibare ibiri nateranya ikabyara 10. So ndafata umubare umwe nyure mu yindi yose isigaye nibaze niba ndamutse nteranyije kuri wa mubare mfite byabyara 10. So rero natangiranye 0 nyine nongeyeho ya mibare yose, nongeraho 8 wapi, nongeraho 9 wapi. So urabona kugeza ubu ngubu maze gukora operations zingahe? Maze gukora operations zingana na n, zingana n'umubare w'imibare mfitemo hariya muri list approximately. Niba hano mfashe umubare umwe nyuze mu isigaye yose, so it's almost n operation. Noneho the idea nuko ibingibi nkoze ngomba kubisubiramo kuri buri mubare. Vuga niba kuri 0 nca mu isigaye yose nkareba niba harimo icyo nateranya bikabyara 10. That procedure I have to repeat it no kuri rimwe nkibaza niba nta kintu nateranya kuri rimwe ngo bibyare 10, no kuri kabiri nkagisubiramo, kuri gatatu nkagisubiramo, gutyo 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 gutyo. So uri kubona ndi gukora n operations, we are doing n operations n times. Uvuga ngo kuri buri mubare umwe turi gukora n operations, hanyuma noneho ibi tuvuze tukabisubiramo kuri buri mubare. Niko nabivuga. So that ends up becoming something called n square, which is quadratic time. Kuvuga ngo it's simply n power 2. Niba dufite item 10 tuzakora operations hafi 100. That's the idea of quadratic time. So the actual implementation izaba isa nka gutya, it will be a for loop and another nested in for loop. Izaba ari for loops ebyiri. Kuvuga ngo for loop yanjye inyuma no kuvuga ngo tugiye guca muri buri mubare, for loop iri inside, noneho ko turi kuri buri mubare turongera duce mu isigaye yose. That's the second for loop. For num1 in array, maybe num1 is 0 at the beginning. For num2 in array, every number again. If num1 plus num2 bibyara target, nzaritanga num1 and num2. Ibyo byose nibirangira ntarabona igisubizo nzaritanga not found. That's the idea of quadratic time. Yeah. And if someone is familiar with math, this should be like too easy. You might even be frustrated because turi kubitindaho, ariko I just want to make sure ko buri wese yabyumvise. So we are doing n operations n times. I know with this ushobora no kwimagina ko noneho dufite ama nested groups atatu, it will be n cube, n'aba ari ane, it will be n power 4. Yeah, that's basically how it works. Noneho wabonamo imibare itatu nateranya ikabyara target number. Icyo gihe uzajya ufata umubare umwe, ufate n'undi umwe, wongere ucemo isigaye yose ureba gutyo 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 gutyo. So in the end bizarangira gukora n times n times n operation. Iyo byabaye n cube nyine. So ni urugero rwiza rwa n cube. Basically it's three nested groups. Funam 1 in array, funam 2 in array, funam 3 in array. Kuvuga ngo this loop has to be run niba array ifite wenda imibare 10. This has to be run 10 times. Ariko na loop irimo imbere igomba kuba run 10 times. Nayo irimo imbere igomba kuba run 10 times. So if we count from here, so that's okay. This will be run 10 times times 10 times times 10 times. Ibirengere bya igihumbi. So that's basically n cube. And then yeah, noneho exponential time rero. Exponential time kuyisobanura bijya bigora, ariko I think I came up with a good example yo kuyisobanura. Exponential time in a way yari 2 power n, of course it can be 3 power n, it can be 5 power n, ariko the most famous case is 2 power n. 2 power n, it's kind of reverse ya logarithmic time. Urabona ko logarithmic time twabona ko time increasing linearly, uko inputs increasing exponential. And hano it's the reverse. Inputs are increasing linearly, ariko time bidutwara increasing exponential, which makes it very very slow. So nk'urugero hano mfite iyi binary tree nubatse hano. It's basically a tree which has 2 children for every parent. From every node dufite 2 possible paths twafata kugira ngo tujye hasi kuri level ikurikiraho. Now twaba tuhari 2 children, 2 children, 2 children. Yeah, just think of this as a graph for a tree. Noneho nshaka kubwira nti niba n ari umubare w'ama levels tree ifite. Ngubu ni ama levels tuvuge atatu wenda n'urugero. Kubwira nti uko levels ziyongera, how does the number of paths nakoresha from the top to the bottom zihinduka? Urabona nk'urugero, iyo mfite, let me bring something to cover, just don't look at this way, just reba. Ubu ngubu yaba tree yanjye yari igarukiye hano, mfite nk'utu duce, mfite iyi parent node, hagira na children bayo babiri gusa. If this was the case, I only have 2 possible paths zo kuva kuri top njya kuri bottom, right? I can pass here or I can pass here. Ariko niba n ivuye kuri rimwe ikaba kabiri, ubwo ngize levels ebyiri. Notice how many paths now I can take. I can take this path, this one, this one, this one. Mfite 4 paths all of a sudden. Kuvuga ngo number ya levels zanjye ivuye kuri rimwe ijya kuri kabiri, which is a linear increase. Ariko paths nafata zivuye kuri ebyiri zitazikubita kuri enye, which is an exponential increase. And to confirm, n niba gatatu, all of a sudden now there are 8 possible routes nafata from the top to the bottom. Uzibaze wabona ko ari 8 kuko aka gace k'iburyo ibumoso karasa n'icyo twari dufite previously nayo karasa nacyo. So it's in total 8 paths nshobora gufata kugira ngo mve kuri top ngere kuri bottom. So urabona uko twongeyeho level imwe birahita bikuba kabiri umubare w'ama paths twari dufite ava kuri top ajya kuri bottom. So that's the idea of exponential growth, at least for 2 power n. Ngo 3 power n yo yaba ari path eshatu kuri buri node. Yeah. So if you can see this, then you really understand exponential time. The idea is as the inputs increase by 1, the time required doubles. That's as simple as it gets. Yeah. Noneho the last and always the worst time complexity niyo cyagiye naze nshaka kwibuka sinyita nyibuka. It's what is called factorial time. Now, what is factorial time complexity? If you have done some math in the past, ngaruka aka document, iyo twavugaga wenda tuti turashaka 4 factorial, I guess it would be what? It would be 4 times, if I remember right, it would be 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. Yeah, something like this. So it would end up becoming what? 12, 24. End up becoming 24. Something like this. If it was 3 factorial, it would just have been 8, I guess. It would just have been 3 times 2 times 1. Oh, it's just 6. Okay, it's just 6. Yeah. So this is the idea of factorial. Now, factorial time complexity, this is just math kuri computer science. Factorial time complexity rivuka byagenze gute? Iyi ngiyi ivuka iyo turimo dushaka kwita all the possible permutations. Kanguha urugero rw'ikintu twita permutations. Ndamutse nguhaye inyuguti hano ABC, kubwira nti izi nyuguti ni ubuhe buryo ushobora, how many ways can you rearrange these alphabets? Kubwira nti exhaust all the possible ways you can rearrange these alphabets. So ushobora kuvuga uti okay, ushobora tuvuge twandike permutations. Permutation ushobora kumenya kuvuga uti okay, first of all ABC itself is acceptable. Ushobora kuza ngaswitchinga A nkahita nkurikizaho C na B. Ushobora noneho kuvuga nti okay, permutation zitangizwa na A zirarangiye, ngiye gukora izitangizwa na B. BAC BCA. Noneho nkora izitangizwa na C. CAB CBA. I guess ko nta yindi permutation nibagiwe. So urabona birangiye mbonye permutation, mbonye possibilities zingahe? 6 nkuko twabikarikiye hano hejuru. So this is always the worst time complexity you can have. Kuko urabona niba input 3 zonyine zibyara 6, turamutse dufite nk'icumi byarangira ryabyaye uruhare runini cyane. If you check, actually I think we can calculate it. Let's see, turamutse dufite inputs 10, it would be 10 factorial, which would be 10 times 9 times 8 times 7 times 6 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. This, if we calculate it, it's certainly going to be a very huge number, and it will be larger than any other time complexity twabonye hariya hejuru. So the factorial time complexity is always the worst. And this function, you might not understand it now, but what it does, it's quite advanced. It's really advanced. It's basically a function which generates all permutations za list. Uba yakira a list, returning all the possible permutations zayo. And the approach it uses, we are not going deep into it, ariko basically ni ukuba uvanyemo umubare umwe hanyuma ukageneratinga permutation zose zitangizwa n'uwo mubare. That's the idea ikoresha. So with this, now we pretty much understand all the common time complexities. Hano dufite agasama again. Urabona, as the size of inputs increase on x-axis, niko na time bitwara generally increasing. Ariko urabona noneho dufite comparison ya za time complexities zose. So constant time is always the best, definitely. Kuko nyine uri kubona graph yayo iri flat. Noneho if we can't do something in constant time, the next best possible complexity is logarithmic time. If even that is not possible, the next is linear time. and then if that's nabyo bidakunze dushobora no gufata n log n. N log n ntago nayivuzeho ariko kubona ni n yikubyeho log n. Ushobora kuvuga ati noneho kandi uburyo nataga example ya n log n. Ushobora kuba wari ufite ya list twahoze tureba, kanze nyigarure. Ya list twahoze tureba hano turimo dushakamo ntago ari iyi ngiyi turimo dushakamo imibare ibiri dushobora guteranya ikabyara wenda target value. Twabonye uburyo twakoresha binary search tukagikora muri log n time, ariko uramutse utariba ushobora no kuvuga uti okay, ngewe noneho ngiye kujya mvuga nti ngiye kujya mfata 0 kuko nzi ko niba ntagiye ndikorera kuri example itari yo ndakeka. Anyhow reka dukoresha iyi ngiyi. Niba target yanjye ari 1 nkaba ndi gushaka imibare ibiri nateranya ikabyara 1, ngo niba ndi kuri 0 I need to check niba hari 1 yaba isigaye mu imibare yindi. So najya nshaka umubare gutya ngahita nkora binary search twara log n nkareba niba harimo 1. Niba ndi nko kuri tuvuge niba target yanjye yari 8 as another example. Niba target yanjye yari 8 najya nza n'abandi kuri 1 nkakora binary search irahiga 7 kuko niba harimo 7 naba mbonye imibare ibiri nateranya ikabyara 8. Niba ndi kuri 0 ndakora binary search ihiga 8. Niba ndi kuri 2 nkore binary search ishakisha 6. Gutyo. So urumva eventually bizansaba guca kuri buri mubare, hanyuma uko ndi kuri buri mubare njye nkora binary search, njye ku wundi nawe nkore binary search. Birangira rero nakoze n log n operations kuri buri mubare, ari byo biza kurangira byabyaye n log n, kuba ni n times log n. Ni log n operation for every element. Log n complexes ziri common mu ma algorithm akoreshwa mu gusortinga ibintu. Nuko twagize time nkeya ariko it's not on a beginner level syllabus, ariko it's also an interesting thing to study about. Now the next complexity ni n square. Or at the beginning the difference is not that huge, ariko ko size ya inputs yongera niko the actual difference igenda igaragara. On n square itangiye kugenda itwara igihe kinini cyane. 2 power n exponential time within a couple increase of the input size, it already becoming practical. And this one isn't factorial time. It's the worst we can have. The required time simply shoots up as the input size start to increase. So we are always looking for something which is at least polynomial time. It's maybe n power a constant. That's not too bad. Ariko, generally speaking, exponential time and factorial time are avoided as much as we can, unless we really have no choice. One of the most famous problems kugeza ubu ngubu ataraboneka umuntu ugisolvinga muri any time which is less than exponential time ni a problem called traveling salesman problem. Ni hari ibibazo biri muri computer science bigikeneye gusubizwa kugeza ubu ngubu, uzabisubiza wese azaba akoze revolution. So the traveling salesman problem uko iteye kanyivuge mu buryo buri very beginner friendly. So ufite wenda nk'umucuruzi ushaka kuzenguruka wenda ingo 100 zo mu mujyi agenda wenda acuruza ibicuruzwa. Noneho urashaka ibibazo uti niyihe nzira yakoresha agatangirira kuri 1 point akaza kuyisorezaho the same point, and tuvuge n'inzu mpereye mu nzu yanjye ngiye kuzenguruka muri zanga 100 nze kugarukira nze gusoreza iwanjye n'ubundi mu nzu. Noneho ibibazo uti niyihe path nafata izantwara the shortest amount, izansaba kugenda the shortest distance possible. What's the most optimal path nakoresha azenguruka izi ngi 100 nkaritaninga iwanjye. And it's the same really nk'iyo ufite wenda nk'iyo nanone tuvuga it's very used, ikoreshwa cyane no mu ma platform akora flights connection. Nk'iyo umuntu avuga ati ndashaka gukora round flight izava mu Rwanda ikagera muri Korea, kubera nta direct flight iri mu Rwanda tu Korea tukongera duca mu bindi bihugu. So we need the cheapest trip yagenda iconnecting inyura muri intermediate airport igatangirira mu Rwanda ikanyura muri Korea ikazongera igaruka mu Rwanda. So we would need to go through all the possibilities kuzajya tubonye the most optimal path. Anyhow, that's one of the most difficult. It's actually, if not the most difficult, it's definitely one of the most difficult problems in computer science. It's very, very computationally heavy. And up to now, I think the best solution hari iracyari exponential. Yeah, n'ibindi bibazo bijya kumera nk'ibyo ngibyo, ah, abakora ntuza research muri computer science baracyari kubyigaho. Hari ibyo bagroupingiye hamwe babita ngo NP hard and NP complete problems, ariko that's really, really far from what we are doing now. So the take home point is we are always trying to achieve the fastest complexity we can have. And in most senses, in most cases, we will be satisfied with anything that is not exponential and not factorial. Yeah, I think that's the take home point. Noneho, yeah, this would be where we take a brief pause kuko part ya mbere turayirangije. Ko twakerewe uyu munsi turafata agapause k'iminota 4 gusa. Hanyuma tuze kugaruka saa 5 PM muri Korea. Ubwo biraba ari saa 10 PM mu Rwanda, I guess. Yeah. So reka dufate agapause k'iminota 4, ariko I'm going to stay around and I'm going to stay online in case anyone has a question. Oh, actually mbonye ko nariribeshye narimbuze ngo turatangira isaha yuzuye ariko the 4 minutes break should be over in 1 minute I guess. So let's make sure ko ntawe tubuze because of this error. So, waba uri kunyumva yatanga agasayini nkamenya ko duhari. Aha. Yeah. Uragaruka, give me a sign menye ko duhari before I begin. Ko I might have misguided some people. Yeah. Okay, that's good. Okay, so reka dukomeze ndi kubona amajorite bagarutse. So second part yacu y'uyu munsi, I'm actually gonna use a PPT for this one. I guess it's better. Yeah. It's not what I want. I can switch screens, I guess. Yep. Hey, Bo. So, muri part yacu ya kabiri, we want to talk about the possible career paths related to programming. Zishobora gukoresha muri your programming skills cyangwa se career opportunities ufite. So, the very first thing we have to clear nuko there are 3 categories of programmers. One, hari abashaka akazi. Those are the career developers. Shaka a job, which is the majority of people. You get a job at the company and you get this paid the salary every month. Yeah, everyone knows this. Oh no, hari abitwa ba freelancers. Freelancers actually they don't work for any particular company. Umuntu aba yikorera, ariko wowe ukaba uri nka contractor. Maybe if I make something, I'm good at something, people hire me when they need my services, and then I provide the service and I get paid on a short-term contract, cyangwa on a job-specific contract, if I should call it so. So when you are freelancers, basically urikorera, you can do this online or you can do it offline, depends. One of the things in that homework is to learn more about freelancing. Yeah. I know the third type now twita aba interprogrammers. Interprogrammers are basically entrepreneurs who happens to be programmers. And I should not say who happens to be, because they do businesses related to programming. Maybe I think I'm about to become one of these two, maybe, because you can build stuffs, and then if you build something which has practical use to the community, then yeah, you can sell it. Basically, business people on is to solve problems at a reasonable cost. So you can decide to be an interprogrammer. It's a difficult word, yeah. It's an entrepreneur who is a programmer basically. The products where we call it out, a company, you can start a business around it yourself. And then some of the most common paths, there is web development. Definitely it's one of the biggest areas dufite. And then it was web development actually has a membership that had front-end web development. Front-end web development basically we use HTML and CSS. HTML and CSS basically some people call them programming languages, but they are not really programming languages, because you cannot write these kind of logics to what one can Python with HTML and CSS. They're basically they're like markup languages, if I should call them something. Yeah. So isn't it? And then JavaScript is a programming language, definitely. You run this free, and then you start building user interfaces. Basically, the front end, what the user interact with when they use your website. Means we tend to say web applications more than website for the reasons that's kuvuga. So basically, front end developers, they build the front end of the website, if we should keep it that easy. Ariko muri big companies bagira indi department y'abantu bitwa web designers. So designers, they use the other tools things like Sketch or Figma or maybe Photoshop, bakasa nk'abadrawing or designing how they want the website to look like, noneho bakaguha iyo design wowe ukayimplementing as a front-end developer. Ariko in a small company or startups, you basically do everything related to the front end. And then we have the backend development, which is basically building, the backend of the service. So the business logic, everything which is happening behind the screen. Let's say it like this. Ariko, it's basically icyo aba backend developer bubaka n'icyo bita APIs. Nk'urugero, ushobora kuba wenda tuvuge ufite an application which needs user to sign in. So if the users have to sign in, you first of all need a form buzuza kuri front end, hanyuma you collect their data, ariko ukeneye no gusuzuma muri database yawe ufite kuri server ngo urebe niba nyine bashyizemo username na password biri valid, hanyuma ubahe access nyine. So urabona we will gather information muri ka gaform bujuje kuri front end ya site, and then we need to send them somewhere. So we need something that stands in between the database and the front end. And that's basically the API, is basically application programming interface. Basically, imagine you have something which stands between the front end and the database. And it will be like allowing for the communication, sending data in form of something called JSON. Yeah. So think of it as a messenger. I take from the front end, I put in a database, back and forth. And that's mostly what the backend developers do. But they also work on other things, of course, involving a little bit of security. Bitewe na scale ya company ukoramo, if you are in a large company, they will have a team which specializes on those things. Like if you are in a small company, you might be expected to do some security configurations and stuff. Yeah. Noneho tukagira n'abiyita the full stack web developers. Ijambo biyita, which might not sound very nice, ariko basically the joke ibaho muri web development industry nuko you can't really be a full stack developer. I mean, you can try, but yeah, you run too many things and you are not an expert at anything. I should put it that way. Ariko basically, a full stack developer ni umuntu ushobora putting together a working website wenyine. Akubaka front end, akubaka na a decent back end, and then deploying actually running. So that's the full stack developer, which is cool, by the way, because the small companies n'ama startups ntabwo ziba zifite luxury yo guhayaringa front end and back end teams. So they need someone who can put things together, maybe alone or with the help of another or two people. Yeah, so it's really valuable. Kubera ahantu nko mu Rwanda hari many startups, n'ama startup adashaka guspendinga too much money, it might be very beneficial to be a full stack developer. And then hano I have a message. Oh yeah, okay. So full stack developer basically he puts together a working website. He ran HTML and CSS and some JavaScript. I will say some JavaScript because he can't really run all JavaScript. And then akiga back at least one backend language. Maybe Python, maybe JavaScript, maybe Java, whatever he chose to do really. Yeah. Noneho next dufite icyitwa DevOps. Basically, this is a department which is used to be absent in many small companies, ariko muri iyi minsi batangiye kubyitaho cyane. So urabona muri iyi minsi hadutse ibintu byo ndaza kubivuga ariko njya kuri cloud. So suppose ko our front end guy yubatse ya designing how the website should look like, aranayiprograma, the whole interface ayishyira hariya. The backend guy yubatse API which will really transfer data between the database and the front end and everything. Now akantu kanyuma kaburaho ni ugufata ibintu byose ngo to be deploying muri some physical servers ziri either in our workplace cyangwa ziri muri cloud environment. So now the part where we need the infrastructures, that's where the DevOps teams comes in, configuring infrastructures. Mainly, they have to be very fluent in cloud technologies like Amazon Web Services or Google Cloud Platform or Microsoft Azure or anything really. Yeah. Hanyuma, that's DevOps. The next common path ni mobile development. Definitely, it was mobile development. There is Android development, which is now like the biggest portion of mobile apps. So mobile developers basically these days, in the past, they used to code purely in Java. Was it SDK? Anyhow, they used to code in Java for Android apps. These days, Google has introduced a young language called Kotlin, and they've declared it as the official language of Android development. So yeah, basically they build mobile apps using Kotlin or Java. You can also build them with Python, but people by default they happen to be using Kotlin a lot. Yeah, in Java. Yeah, and then we have the iOS development. This is definitely for iPhones. Kubera ko nyine ntuza Android n'ama iPhones ntabwo bikoresha operating systems zimwe. Androids yaba ya Samsung yaba amatekino yabo iki yose akoresha ntuza Android iri based on Linux basically. Yeah, and then so you need to develop platform specific. Hanyuma hakaba nyine na iOS development which comes from Apple. So iOS developers, they certainly have to use tools from Apple. They in the past they used code in a language called Objective-C. Ariko ntuza Apple nayo yadevelopinze new language yitwa Swift. That's what they use to build the applications. Yeah. And then ariko harimo nkiri ahangaha hari akandi kantu ntashyizeho ariko kanini siri kavugaho. Harimo haravuka icyo bita cross platform mobile development. Urabona kugeza ubu hari ikibazo cy'uko if you want to build the mobile application, you need to hire at least 2 developers or 2 teams depending on the size of your company. A developer uza developer for Android and a developer uza developing for iOS. Kuko you need to have 2 code bases zanditse no muri tools zitandukanye na language zitandukanye. So that end up being very costly for small businesses. And we kwaduka the idea of cross-platform mobile development. You hear tools like Flutter or React Native, which is React Native is JavaScript basically. Flutter is coming from Google. It uses new tools. I think it's used a language called Dart. Yeah, and the promise is if there is a technology, you can write one code which can run on iOS and Android. This is an industry ikiri muri very early stages. At this moment, you might run them and not find a job. Ariko many old guys in the industry think that this is going to be the future. If you can have one code base which run on both platforms, it would literally save you half of the development cost. Yeah. And then the next things we have the desktop app development. This used to be huge. Nk'iyi minsi isoko ryaragabanutseho ukuntu kuko to be honest we don't install that many desktop application ariko the feed is still there kuko niyo rega abantu bubaka ntuza application nshyashya baba bagabanutse we still need developers to maintain existing applications and to upgrade them. Application yose ukoresha muri machine hafi buri mwaka cyangwa buri mezi angahe haba ari kuza the new version. So the market is still there certainly. And then hano naho harimo division y'ama Windows machines n'ama macOS via Linux open source. Windows abantu are developing for Windows. I guess you can pretty much actually the language doesn't matter too much. Nuko nyine usanga hari language iri more preferred for specific task. Nk'ubu iyo abantu bakunda kudevelopa apps for Windows, they like to use C# because it's just a language which is supported by Microsoft. And then the people who do macOS definitely they still use Swift. ariko you can use Java, you can try to use Python, and for Linux you can definitely use any language. Yeah. And then uh, yeah, then we have embedded systems. If you are using printers or ATM machines, they are running some programs on the back end. I'm not very skilled in embedded systems programming. Ariko, we do have programs running behind those printers, those ATM machines. Yeah, everything really. These are the systems, the programs which interact with the systems on a raw level. Yeah. These guys, they're oftentimes very old in the industry. Ariko they so far they had been coding in C++ and Java. The reason why they have been using Java is because of the GVM, the virtual machine, I guess, because anything which can run the GVM can run Java code, I guess. Yeah. These days, though, they are using Python a lot. There is a project called, uh, how do we call this? Hari utumashini dutoya turi gutuza dufite almost the size of a chip, like Raspberry Pi. Raspberry Pi ni utumashini turi kwaduka duto cyane cyane turi na very cheap cyane. I think it should cost less than $100. And the Raspberry Pi is basically using Python for almost everything. Yeah, it's something I have to look into myself and see if it's very promising. I think I'm planning to get one to play with for fun in the next few days. Yeah. If the project succeed, it would be really revolutionary kuko abana bacu batoya twajya tubagurira utumashini tuduhenze. If you can get a machine at $80, $100, yeah, that would be really cool. Our kids can learn to code from a very young age. So, and then we have data science, which is really huge these days. It has been like the best job of the year for like several years in a row. It's like the hottest thing today, really. And here Python simply rocks. Mbere yuko Python itakinga hit, mbere ya 2015, I guess, there used to be one language which was popular in data science bita R or R, I don't know niba ndi kuyipronounce neza. Ariko these days really Python has just crushed anything which works in data science. Some people still resist and attempt to use like Java for big data and everything, but Python has conquered really because of the libraries, the tools Python have, and the society, the community behind it. Yeah, we have like a huge community and so many tools which you can just reuse. Yeah. And then we have big data engineering. I won't talk too much about this. These are the words you are hearing every day, really. Then we have machine learning. Actually, at first, personally, I believe machine learning is a part of data science. Ariko still nayanditseho just to highlight it. And this is pure Python, really, to be honest, because the two biggest frameworks kugeza ubu ngubu zikoreshwa muri machine learning ni TensorFlow na PyTorch. TensorFlow niyo abantu benshi bakunze gukoresha for business purpose because of simplicity. Even for the people who have not coded, they can do something with it. You can just reuse tools which are already existing. Kuko ubundi mu isi ya machine learning, the last year ndimo mfata machine learning class, the thing is the actual machine learning algorithms are available publicly, most of them. Because the companies now they have no much intention in hiding the algorithms. Ahubwo icyo bahidinga ni amadata bakoresha batraininga the models to make them efficient enough, accurate enough. So if you are interested in machine learning, definitely Python is nearly your only option. Yeah. And then, by the way, PyTorch ni ikunze gukoreshwa cyane cyane muri academic environments. Barayikunda cyane. PyTorch is developed by Facebook, and then TensorFlow is developed by Google. So you can run any of them. There's another one called Keras, which is built on the top of TensorFlow. Anyhow, I'm not an expert in machine learning, just throwing out some basic ideas. And then we have enterprise tools, actually, and this is the one area where Java is still the king. Enterprise simply need these very huge companies, let's call them enterprise. So these are the tools bakoresha internally. For example, if you go to a bank and you want to withdraw, uzabona abari gukora kuri services, they will be using some application, whether it's a website, whether it's a desktop application. These tools tend to be very old, ariko they still do the job, and these huge companies, tend to be slow in making changes in the tools they use. Niyo mpamvu there's never such a thing as old technologies in the world of programming. There's always going to be some legacy applications that need maintenance. Yeah. So the big enterprises are still using Java heavily for their internal tools. Yeah. And then we have cloud development or cloud architecture, whatever you call it, which is new and it's growing really rapidly. So nigeze kuvuga kuri cya kintu cyo kudeployinga the application tuba twakoze. Whether it's a mobile apps, whether it's a desktop app, whether it's a website, it's hosted somewhere in some physical server, some physical computer. Kera cyane umuntu yubukaga application cyangwa website ye hanyuma akagura na server. By the way, server is nothing other than a computer which has a certain software installed on it, a server software, if I should call it. These days, it's more like we have like two competing servers, Nginx and Apache. Anyhow, so in the old days, wubakaga wenda website, wowe ukigurira mashine yawe ukayicomeka mu nzu yawe ukayitaningamo server ikajya serving your website. And it has to be on and running every time, otherwise the site will be offline. No, that became impractical because as the requirements our users ba site yawe ko baba benshi, at some point it will no longer be able to handle the traffic. And you could scale up by kind of upgrading your computer, maybe ugashyiramo more RAMs, better processors, everything. You can try to upgrade it. Ariko definitely at some point you cannot upgrade anymore if you want to build something really big. And then haza kuzaho era yo kurentinga the servers from big companies. Basically companies zikagira amasava zifite zitari gukoresha, mu gihe zitari gukoresha ukagenda bakayagutiza, ukayakonfigaringamo website yawe hanyuma ukayisiga iraninga yonyine tu. Ariko these days the way to go these days nuko again these big companies which supply the cloud environment, basically you can host your application on Google servers and then they will manage the infrastructure for you. You don't need to go to configure the physical computer yourself. You can use their cloud tools to manage the infrastructure and you can focus on development. And they really have very advanced tools to do it. I took one Google Cloud course, Google Cloud platform course, and it was really impressive. They have like really amazing technologies, things like Kubernetes, which can just manage a cluster of servers. And if you want to like scale up, for example, if you had like 2 servers running and all of a sudden our customer basura site yawe bahise baba nk'ibihumbi byinshi cyane and you can no longer serve them, you can just scale up by like clicking a button and then they will take care of it and create a new servers for you and expand everything. It's just so comfortable these days. So the cloud is becoming very huge because it's new and there are not enough people who are fluent in cloud technologies. It's very, very new. I would really encourage young people to look into it. Even the people who are not anyone who, by the young people I mean someone who is starting to program. So it's really hot and I suspect there's going to be much demand in Rwanda. Yeah. So whether it's AWS, whether it's GCP or Microsoft Azure, izashata nakeka arizo nini cyane. At the moment AWS niyo ifite ntuza market share nini kurusha izindi. Ariko I like GCP a lot and I think it's growing. So this is really something to look into. Kuko yagiye mvuga kuri ya department ya DevOps basically they are doing most of their work in the cloud muri iyi minsi. And then ikindi ni testing automation. If you have an application and you need to be testing it, you need to be testing it against possible failure scenarios. In the past, you would do it manually. Ariko these days, they like to automate testing in such a way that if there is any change dukoze kuri application, we need to run many tests to know that it will not fail some customers. If we make some tweaks muri application, we need to know ko nta mukahise muzagera ku gafica runaka ngo gafailinge bitewe na changes twakoze. So we need a way to automate testing ku buryo ziba ziri kuraninga every time hagira ikintu hagira test zifailinga tujya tubifixinga aba users bacu batari babibona. Yeah. And then there is database administration. Ntabwo nashyize database management, natekereje kubivugira hamwe. These are the guys who specialize in working with databases. So basically, nakubwiye ko aba backend developers, they develop APIs which stands between the front end and the database and allow for back and forth communication. So urumva already hasigaye someone on the database. Iyi nyine agatima ari gatoya, those backend guys might end up working on database as well. Ariko muri company nini, they hire separate database administrators. So these guys, they take care of the database. They make sure that data is safe. They make sure that we keep replicas and we keep multiple copies, backups. Yeah. And basically, they can use multiple tools. They can use Python scripts. I think the biggest thing they use, I think, is again a query language, not a programming language, called SQL. SQL. And SQL is pretty much easy. If you can learn Python, you can learn SQL in a couple of days as well. Yeah. So ibyo nibyo bakora, they manage the database and they oversee all the operations and they optimize the database. Actually, reka nyivugeho gatoya kuko muri iyi minsi it's extremely important kubera machine learning. Kuko aho bigeze ubu ngubu nkuko nazi mbivuga, the actual algorithm, many of them are publicly available. Ariko ubu ngubu intambara yo muri machine learning, urugamba rwimukiye kuri database. Ubu ngubu dushobora kuba dufite today, ugiye kuri internet wagogoringaho the machine learning algorithm which can, for example, which can translate languages or which can detect people in the crowd or which can detect colors. Nakoze kuri project aho twari dukorana na algorithm ishobora kudetectinga different hairstyles irebye ku mafoto y'abantu, ukishyiramo ifoto ikaraninga against the possible hairstyles, ikadetectinga the hairstyle umuntu afite, which would be really cool because you can imagine putting it on a drone and then you can supervise like a crowd of people, ukamenya which hairstyles are very popular, and then you can use that information to assist your business in decision making. Anyhow, the whole point iri kuganiraho ni uko the algorithms are available. Ariko ikibazo twahuye nacyo ni ukuvuga ngo you need to train the algorithm, kuko without training these machine learning models really are pretty much useless. When you train it, hari ama variables agenda yitwikinga ukuntu, ari nako accuracy igenda yiyongera. So the more the data you have, the more accurate your model will end up being. Niyo mpamvu intambara yimukiye kuri database. So whoever has more data is going to have more accurate algorithms in the end. That's why these big companies are winning against small institution researchers, because they have so much money they can invest in gathering so much data. That's why all of a sudden database has become very important again. It was starting to become an old technology, old field. Kahitanye tubonamo abantu bashaje gusa, ariko all of a sudden it's very hot again because of data science and machine learning. Yeah. And then we have cyber security, which sounds very cool. And mostly we have the penetration testing, that the people we hire to try to penetrate into our systems. And then the ethical hacking is, I'm not an expert really in cybersecurity, but I know ethical hacking is basically where you can set out to attempt to hack maybe some application with authorization, of course. And if you figure out something which malicious players could use against them, you will just let them know and they can hire you to fix it. That's basically what they do. Yeah. And then we have something called competitive programming. These are actually the guys who some people like to say who code for fun, but these are people who do programming like any other sports. So they become so good at solving problems, writing algorithms, and then they attend coding competitions and win prizes and everything. Yeah. Their goal is not to be daily life useful applications. Their goal is just to solve some of the most difficult problems. And then it's up to the software engineers to use those solutions to build useful applications. So those guys mostly compete on these platforms. Codeforce is like the biggest one. It's a Russian one, I guess. There is Top Coder, there is HackerRank, there is LeetCode, which I personally use extensively. Yeah, and there are so many others. There is ArtCoder. There are so many of them. You can search competitive programming. And by the way, you can use one of these sites for practice, even if you don't intend to become a competitive programmer. For example, HackerRank and LeetCode, they have some beginner-friendly questions, but the other two are a little bit for advanced programmers. Yeah, so you can definitely take a look. You don't need money to take a look and to practice. You basically type in your code, run it against some inputs they give you, and then if it passes, they tell you. If it fails, they tell you how it fails. And it's like that. Yeah. And by the way, we need some competitive programmers in Rwanda because yeah, when I check on these platforms, I barely see anyone from Rwanda. Yeah, hopefully we will have a generation of programmers coming very soon. And then definitely when we have the teams of programmers, we do need managers for this technical position. So the positions uh, like like team managers, tech leads, all the management positions which require some sort of background in programming. Yeah, and they're oftentimes the most high paying jobs, but it helps to have the background in actual programming because you will be managing programmers. You need to know at least something about what they are doing. And we have more and more and more and more. The list is can keep going on forever and ever. So there are all these opportunities, all these fields. Some of them were becoming old. All of a sudden, they are hot again. The demand for programmers is just huge, and it only gets higher because this is not to mention now the pandemic and everything. All of a sudden, everyone has realized that they have to go online, and the only way they go online is using some sort of websites or applications, and they do need programmers to do that. So the demand is really high, and because of that, the homework for this week is actually searching about some of these fields which interest you most and run about them. If you can, use some job listing platforms to figure out which ones have more openings in your area or your target area in case you intend to change the area. And then, yeah, run a thing or two about freelancing. Maybe I don't say go ahead and become a freelancer, but at least know what is it about. Yeah, at least if you are aware of what can be done, and yeah, that would be good enough. And then some final tips as we conclude the class. First of all, many people told me that they're interested in web development. So if you are interested in web development, I highly recommend that you check out something called Free Code Camp. This is something I hope I got to know in my early days, because in my early days I was learning from everywhere and it was very challenging and quite disorganized in the first days. But this is something really good you can check, and it has a big name. It's free, first of all, and it's quite huge in the industry. So when you have it on your resume, programmers will definitely know it. They know what you mean and they trust it. Yeah. You run to code here, they guide you through building some projects. By project, I mean some websites. And they give you a certificate after you complete the course. They teach front end web development and back end. And having the knowledge of programming you have, these courses should be very, very easy. Yeah. So check out Free Code Campus. Then you can follow this guy on YouTube. He's like, I've been following the developers for a long time, for more than like 16 months now. But I happen to think he's the best. He has like a ton of videos on multiple web development topics. His channel is all about web development, and he's a very real guy and he's very honest. He don't just say you shitty things just to make money out of you. Yeah, he really serve high quality content. So check out. He's called Brad, but his channel is called Traverse Media. And then, yeah, do something called project based learning. The reason why I highly encourage this is if you just learn to code with no goal in mind, it's very easy to give up. And I guess that happens to many people. We probably witnessed that in our class. So what I encourage is pick a project that you wish to work on. Say I want to build this or that. And then start working on it and then do what every programmer does. Google what you don't know and run it. That's basically what every programmer does from entry level junior developers to senior developers. Every day they are Googling on Stack Overflow and everywhere. Just Google what you don't know. You will be amazed at how many people have searched for the same question, and you'll be impressed at how awesome answers you will find. Yeah. One of the best things I like about programming is that we have a very helpful community. For every problem you come across, like 99.9% someone has faced it and someone has answered it. So just Google and check out the answers and try to understand them. Yeah. And then practice, 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 of course. And then build some stuff regularly. That's basically the tips to make you a programmer who makes money, actually. Yeah. Because when once you have a couple projects on your resume, then you can get a job. You can apply for a job and yeah. These are my final tips. And then yeah, every time you get frustrated, just imagine that a number of people just gave up at this point. And if I get past this point, the rate of competition will be slightly lower because those frustrations, everyone goes through them, and every frustration knockouts a number of people. And when you get past the frustration, you just become better than millions of people who gave up at that point. So every frustration you meet, just see it as an opportunity to become more competitive in the market. And that's it. As we talked about the computational complexities, about big O and where to go from here. And this marks the end of the class. This is what I prepared for this class for the content of 8 weeks. I really congratulate everyone who has gone through this class. It had been a while, had been quite difficult and challenging for all of us. I know the time difference and everything, and some of us have had to attend while doing their regular jobs. I have had to prepare the class and give it throughout my exam periods at school, and honestly, it wasn't that easy, but yeah, we did it, we made it, and now we are at the end. Now, there have been a request to hold an exercise session, and let's talk about that. Now, everyone can just open their microphone and yeah, we discuss about it and decide, and then yeah, we can go about our daily businesses. So everyone, you turn on your microphone and I want to dusoze nyine tu. course mwayibonye gute se? By the way, I will send an email mbabwira ngo send me at least one feedback, kuko I do need kumenya aho bitagenze neza n'aho byagenze neza. So I will really request ko byibuze umuntu anyaririza akayimeri, nubwo kaba ari paragraph imwe, it's really good, it helps me a lot. So yeah, in the meantime, practice session tuyishyire ryari? Tuyishyire kuwa gatandatu still?
nimba byafashe uramutse kuwa gatandatu, kubera ko niyo time tumaze kumenyera byadufasha.
Okay, that's a fair point. Is anyone not okay with this plan? Okay, so reka tubigenze gutya. Next week kuwa gatandatu tugiye kuzagira practice session. Nitugira practice session biradusaba kugira some problems to solve. I can come up with a ton of question, ariko I have been doing this for a while. So reka mbe nitinze gato umuntu waniri gusaka cyane. Yeah. So I can come up with a ton of questions. I have hundreds if not thousands of questions. Ariko reka tubigenze gutya. Reka namwe muri mwebwe, anyone who come across a question which is obviously related to what we studied, okay, you can bring a very insane question and we dive into it. You can bring some complex graph problems or dynamic programming or really some advanced algorithms, and nobody will understand it. So that would not be that useful to the classmates. So find some moderate questions, and if you find any question, bring it to the class by next Saturday, and then tuzajya tuzisharinga tuziganire. And the way we will be doing it is, I guess, many people can share screens, ariko it can be quite challenging. Yeah, dushobora kuzabisharinga muri WhatsApp group. Ndakeka. Donc ukajya ufata ikibazo cyawe ukacyandika ku text document, hanyuma ukagisharinga. You can even send it to me by email, by the way, if it's what you like doing. Cyangwa ushobora no kuza cyitwaje muri class ukaza kugiterekamo hano muri chat room. Anyhow. So ubwo reka tubigenze gutya, tuzongere guhura kuwa gatandatu dufite couple problems bazaba babibonye, nanjye nzaba nazanye ibindi, hanyuma dukore one practice session, hanyuma tubisoje.
Nifuzaga kugusaba source library, uburyo byaba bisobanura kujya mu libraries noneho tukamenya n'ibikurikiyeho wenda.
Nkumvishe bicikaho ukuntu, asubiramo just one more time.
Nagusabaga ko amasource y'ama libraries akoreshwa muri Python, kuko wenda gusaba ko tugenda tumenya aho ibindi bikurikiyeho. Izo libraries zadufasha, watubwira sources zimwe muri zo.
For example, do you have any field you're interested in? Ngo mpite nkubwira ntoza the libraries.
Ni data science, ibintu bijyanye na statistics, nabyo niga, so nibyo nikuzakomeza mu data science.
So for data science, you need to check out something called NumPy. Kanze nyikandikire muri chat. You might know about it. Kanze nyikandikire hano. For data science, you need to check something called NumPy. Chat yanditse yakugezeho, right? Urumva muri chat room. NumPy and SciencePy. SPy. Is it called SciencePy? SciencePy and Matplotlib. So would be. Cyangwa actually reka nzigugoringe tujye tubivuga tubiri. Ariko ntabwo dufite umwanya. So first of all, check out NumPy. NumPy has it's the summary for numbers Python. niyo number one library bakoresha aba data scientist muri Python. And then if you have luxury time, check matplotlib. It's used to plot graphs and to represent graphs in Python just directly. And then, yeah, if you also have much more time, you could. I'm going to recommend you something. You're recommending another path nigeze mfata in my early days of programming ya data science. Nayifashe kuri Code Academy. Code Academy is one website where you go and it's not free, unfortunately. You do have to pay a monthly fee, which would be like $10 something, I don't know, but it's not expensive. So they have these paths you can choose from, and but the data science path iri quite famous. Tangira yigisha SQL na Python. So they teach you how to query the data and then how to do cool stuff with the data ukoresheje Python. But for you, check out Code Academy. Data science path. Ndabikwandikiye muri chat byose niba wabibonye mbwira.
Ndi kubibona.
Okay. Check out the data science path. It was good. Narayifashe. Siko in the end naje kwereka ko naje gudahitamo kujya muri data science ariko it was really good. Yeah. Do we have more questions? Oh yeah, right. Hari umuntu wagiye gushyira muri WhatsApp group. Nyandikiramo phone number hano muri message box mpite ngushyira muri group. Okay. Hari ufite ikindi kibazo yaba akimbaza mu gihe ndi kumushyira muri group. Okay, niba nta kindi kibazo dufite, contact maze kuyisavinga. Now I will just add it to the group. Yeah. Na kohereje invitation. Yeah, you will click the invitation and you will be in the group. Okay, niba nta kindi kibazo reka dusoze. It was so good to be with you. Actually, dusoje the whole syllabus. The remaining is one extra practice class. Ariko I have appreciated your effort. Mwese abakurikiye iyi course up to the end. Hasigaye all the best and feel free to reach out to me. Ikindi nkuko nabivuze, I really suggest ko wanyohereza at least one paragraph of an email telling me how you felt about the class and if there is anything I might improve. Yeah. So mwakoze cyane rero, mugire afternoon nziza n'ijoro ryiza ku bari muri Korea.